I think that's an excellent question. What we need to understand, and I'll highlight, is that conservation is about bringing people together. We all breathe the same air, drink the same water, eat the same food, and at the end of the day, conservation can break barriers, whether it's about economic grouping or ethnicity or religion or whatever it might be, and it brings it all together. We all have to realize we have a purpose across the world, and I think that's what is then important again, is to recognize that heritage, tradition, local knowledge should lead in the conservation in the local context and should be supported by whatever financial mechanism might come in, or whether you've got tourists from overseas. And we have to remember that we have one of the most unique countries in the world. Our USP is our heritage, our people, our wildlife. And people from all over the world come here to see that. And then we need to enhance that. We need to make sure that the people, and conservation ultimately is about people, need to benefit from that revenue that's generated. And we try and do that at Loisaba Conservancy by engaging in education programs. We, together with our partner, the Pankaj Foundation, provide school meals for 2,500 children in schools around the Loisaba Conservancy every day. We've constructed a school, it was the dream of the Honourable MP for Laikipia North, Sarah Lecoreri. It's already got 400 boarders in that school. We provide meals, we provide scholarships, we provide uniform, etc. for that school. So we try and get it out there, and we talk about conservation for peace and education, and make this very strong line between these things, and not to be paternalistic about it. I think it's really important that when you have a conservancy or a protected area like Loisaba, you run properly delivered social questionnaire, or something like a SAPA, social assessment around a protected area, which gives you the rationale for people that live around that protected area and what is important to them. And we see results coming out of that can be surprising, or maybe they're just what we believe in as well. And then you come together and work it out, and make sure that you're driving in one direction, and make it a teamwork. So I think that's what it's about, is respect, respect for local culture, respect for local communities, and to make sure that the benefits are very directly communicated and deeply understood. So be it scholarships, you make sure that the kids that get those scholarships understand that those scholarships are a result of wildlife conservation, apart from other things. So that then breeds another generation of people who get involved. And I'd like to highlight something else that Shuja said about personal responsibility. We all have to understand that we have a personal responsibility to deliver conservation in our own context. And I think that's really important. We're not going to change things if we just think that we're going to have a foreign organization, or even a local one, parachute in and change everything for everything. That's not going to work. We're going to have to take personal responsibility. And there's something that I see more and more in local communities and people that I've lived with for over 30 years that is coming out now. And I think that's going to be the strength of conservation and how we deal with human-wildlife conflict going forward. Right. And to make sure that you come in with things that actually work, like be it a predator-proof boma. So if you're a pastoralist and you get support to deliver a predator-proof boma, you stop losing livestock to leopard. You can imagine if you have a herd of 100 sheep and goats and one night 30 get eaten by a leopard, you're not going to be very happy about wildlife conservation. So you have to mitigate that and make people understand that it's their personal responsibility to also protect their livestock, etc. So these are some of it's complex, but at the end of the day, there's a pretty simple line to draw around the benefit from conservation.
All right, and without having to repeat what it is that you have said, the two gentlemen are concerned about the element of education. What would you say is the significance of education and awareness raising efforts, of course, in building empathy towards this wildlife? And what are some of the notable challenges that you have yourself encountered in terms of making sure that we are able to mitigate and as well as, manage human-wildlife conflict?
I think, making sure, and I think this is something that we need to strive for as a country, that with the curriculum of our formal education is conservation. And I think we can do it as outsiders that come in and make sure that there are education trips to conservancies and bring school kids in to see wildlife, to understand wildlife, to have lectures around it. But at the end of the day, we're going to really move the dial if we make sure that conservation becomes a central part of curriculum, not just wildlife clubs and things like that. Yeah. And I think, getting on board early with children so that they understand natural systems and natural planet beyond what they may or may not have heard, and how all things work is critically important to make a change in the long term.